Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Lafferty, and I'll be your tutor for essential reporting. So, welcome. We'll get to know each other pretty well over the coming weeks and months, and I hope you'll enjoy this module. Really, it'll equip you to be good news reporters by the end of this. So, let's all enjoy it as much as we can. So in this online lecture, which there'll be one loaded up on a Friday each week, and this will basically give you all the information you need to go into the workshops, which will happen. Will start next week. We've got an online session on Monday and then face-to-face workshops on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So please, if you can, stick to the workshop that you're assigned to. It makes it a lot easier if we've got similar amounts of people in the group, and also ensures we don't run out of space as well. So please stick to the workshop that you've been assigned to. So these lectures that we'll do, which will, like I say, will be available on a Friday, I'll break them down into 4 parts so they're easier for you to consume and manage. And then if you want to go back over something at all, it's easy for you to do, really. So they'll be in total, up to an hour, probably in 10 or 15-minute blocks. So today, this is a signpost. You'll see this popping up throughout the online lectures that you'll be watching. So we're going to start off with doing a bit of admin, a bit of housekeeping really that I need to make you aware of, and there'll be a form that I'd like you to sign, which I'll be handing out at the face-to-face workshops next week. For the guys who are doing the online workshop, I'll let you know in that what to do with the forms. After we've got the admin and housekeeping done, we'll be looking at what's the point of news. Why do we produce news? Why do we create content? We'll then be looking at the module and the assessment in greater depth, and then I'll give you a quick introduction to news writing as well. So let's get you started on creating those excellent stories that I know you'll all do. And then next week we'll start the workshops probably with a look at the front pages or a quiz. Then we'll recap what we've talked about today quickly, and then we'll get you bashing the keyboards, we'll get you writing stories, we'll get you using the skills that you'll have already started to learn. Just to go over something I mentioned in the induction, it's really important that we read, watch, and listen to news each and every day. Also, read, watch, and listen with an analytical mindset if you can. Look at how journalists treat a story, look at how they write their intros, how they structure the rest of the story, look at the quotes they use. We're all what we used to call news hounds. We love news, that's why we're here. So, devour as much of it as you can. And if you do that, you'll learn a lot more quickly and you'll get into the swing of how stories are created. But first, like I say, a bit of admin, housekeeping to look at. We need you to sign an ethical approval form, and basically this details how we act and go about our business as journalists. There are things out there called the Editor's Code, produced by Ipso, and I'll be talking at length about that. And that basically is a rule book, really, a bit of guidance for journalists and how we should behave. So this form is available in Blackboard even. So don't read it now, but have a good read of it in your own time, because I don't want you signing anything that you've not read. So here's an example of it. So have a quick flick through that at your leisure. And this is the form that I'll be asking you to sign, where the big red cross is. So I'll be handing that out, like I say. So do take time to have a read of that if you can. We also need to have a bit of a think about managing risk when you're working on assignments outside of university, when you're covering stories, when you're going to interview people. So there's a bit of help and guidance for you there when you're off campus dealing with people. So the risk identified is in the practical modules, where students are required to produce stories for assignments by working independently away from the university. So this assessment is in Blackboard, as I've said, so take a look at that if you can. And I must add that it's highly unlikely that you will encounter any elements of risk, but you do need to be aware of it. In 26 years working as a journalist, I can only remember a couple of incidents where I felt there was risk involved, but nevertheless, you do need to be aware of these matters. So you'll be informed of the risks of working in the field. As we said, this guidance in these slides is also placed on Blackboard. But here's some basic things that we need you to consider. So we'd advise you to attend any interview or event with a student colleague where possible and appropriate, and always try and meet people in a public place. And just be aware of the type of information that you might be giving to people about yourself as well. And inform a tutor if you can when you're planning an interview. But also at this point, I'd like to mention COVID-19. It's still out there, so we need you to stick to the university and national guidelines that are in place at any given time. To just be careful out there. Be aware of any social distancing requirements, any requirement to wear a mask anywhere you're going. And if you're not sure about any of this, there is guidance on the university website for you to take a look at as well. So just be aware of that. We're all in the general swing of how to act and behave during this pandemic, but it's worth refreshing our knowledge because these guidelines do change fairly regularly. The other bit of good advice is to carry a fully charged mobile phone with you, and then if there are any issues that arise or any delays or anything like that, you can get in contact with somebody. And then in the highly unlikely event that you do feel under threat or in any sort of danger, then we'd advise you to call the emergency services as well as a tutor, colleague or family or friend. So take a look at these things, look at the ethical approval in Blackboard, have a quick think about, the risk assessment, and have a look at those forms. So, okay, that's the general introduction and the admin covered. If you're not sure about any of these issues, please ask me in the workshops next week, or drop me an email or something like that. So, okay, that's the end of the first part of today's online